The neon signs of Port Zenith flickered in 17 different languages, casting rainbow shadows across the crowded marketplace. Humans, Phyrexians, Kolthari, and dozens of other species bustled through the interstellar trading hub, haggling over exotic goods from 1,000 worlds. 16-year-old Marcus Chen weaved through the crowd, his worn jacket marking him as one of the poorer human colonists. He'd saved for 3 months to buy a replacement power cell for his mother's medical pod, and the precious device sat heavy in his pocket. That's when he saw her, the old woman crouched beside a refuse compactor, her tattered robes covered in grime. Her skin had an odd grayish pallor, and her 6-fingered hands trembled as she held out a dented cup. Most passers-by ignored her. Some spat insults in languages Marcus didn't understand. 3 Phyrexian youths, tall, blue-skinned beings with crystalline ridges along their skulls, stood nearby, laughing at something on their holoscreens. As Marcus passed, one of them noticed him slowing down near the beggar. "Look," the tallest Phyrexian called out in accented galactic common. "The human stops for the wretch." How typically primitive. His companions chittered in amusement. "Humans and their absurd compassion," another said. "They waste resources on the weak. It's why they'll never advance beyond a Class C civilization." Marcus felt his face flush, but he'd heard worse. Humans were considered naive by most species, too emotional, too attached to outdated concepts like charity and empathy. The galaxy ran on cold efficiency, and mercy was expensive. The old woman looked up at Marcus with clouded eyes. Something about her gaze made him pause, a depth there that seemed ancient and knowing. Her lips moved, forming soundless words in a language that predated the stars themselves. "Please," she whispered finally in broken common. "Hungry. So hungry." Marcus glanced at his pocket, feeling the weight of the power cell. Without it, his mother would have to endure another 3 months of pain. But looking at this woman's gaunt face, he couldn't just walk away. It wasn't in his nature. He knelt beside her. "Wait here." The Phyrexian youths erupted in mocking laughter. "It speaks to the refuse." Does the human think it will reply with profound wisdom? Marcus ignored them and walked to a nearby food stall. He traded half the credits he'd saved, money meant for emergency medicine, for a container of hot stew and fresh bread. When he returned, he placed the food gently in the old woman's trembling hands. Her eyes widened, glistening with tears. "You give." "Everyone deserves to eat," Marcus said simply. "Pathetic," one of the Phyrexians called out. "That creature is probably a Skrell vagrant. They're parasites, boy. You've wasted valuable credits on biological waste." The old woman's hands stopped trembling. Something shifted in her expression, the cloudiness in her eyes clearing like fog burning away under a sun. She stood slowly, her bent spine straightening, and suddenly she seemed much taller than before. The marketplace grew quiet. The Phyrexians' laughter died in their throats. "Biological waste," the woman repeated, her voice no longer weak but resonant with power. "Parasites." Interesting words from children of the Phyrexian collective. She raised one 6-fingered hand and her tattered robes began to shimmer. The grime fell away like ash, revealing intricate garments woven with living light. Geometric patterns spiraled across her skin, glowing with an inner radiance. Her face remained aged, but now it held the terrible beauty of something timeless and vast. The tallest Phyrexian stumbled backward, his crystalline ridges flashing in recognition and terror. "No, it cannot be." "Queen Ishara? Your eternal majesty," another whispered, dropping to his knees. Marcus stood frozen, confused as hundreds of beings in the marketplace recognized her and fell into deep bows. Even species that didn't serve the Skrell Empire showed deference. Everyone knew the legends of Queen Ishara, the immortal ruler who had united 40 systems under peaceful rule 3,000 years ago. She'd vanished mysteriously 2 centuries past, and the galaxy had fractured in her absence. "I have walked among you," Queen Ishara said, her voice carrying across the silent marketplace, wearing 100 faces, speaking in 1,000 tongues. I wanted to see what my galaxy had become in my absence. I wanted to understand if kindness still existed, or if we had all become as cold as the void between stars. She turned to Marcus and her expression softened. In 100 worlds, through 100 tests, only 17 beings offered help. 5 were humans. She placed her hand on his shoulder. "Your species is young, yes, inefficient by some measures. But you carry something most ancient races have forgotten. The simple courage to care when caring costs you something." The Queen's gaze swept over the kneeling Phyrexians, You three mocked this boy for his compassion. You call humans primitive, yet he saw suffering and acted, while you, children of my own diplomatic allies, saw only an opportunity for cruelty. Her voice hardened. Perhaps it's your species that should learn from his, not the reverse. She reached into her robes and withdrew something that glowed with soft blue light. A royal seal, recognized across half the galaxy. Marcus Chen of Earth, she said formally, you have shown the character I seek. My empire needs renewal, and it shall be built on those who understand that power without mercy is merely tyranny. She pressed the seal into his hand, along with a data chip. This contains a full scholarship to the Imperial Academy, a high-tier medical package for your family, and a letter of commendation that will open doors throughout the known systems. Use them well. Marcus stared at the items in his hand, overwhelmed. I just gave you food. It was everything, Queen Ishara interrupted gently. It was a choice to see another being's pain and respond to it. That is the foundation upon which civilizations should be built. She smiled, and for a moment she looked simply kind, like someone's grandmother. Never let the cynicism of this galaxy steal your humanity, young one. It is your greatest strength. She turned to address the crowd. I return to my throne. The years of testing are complete. Let it be known across all systems. The Skrell Empire values compassion as highly as strength, mercy as much as justice. Those who have forgotten this will be reminded. With those words, Queen Ishara dissolved into light, teleporting away with technology beyond current understanding. The marketplace erupted into chaos, excited chatter in dozens of languages, reporters rushing to document the event, and the three Vrexian youths slinking away in shame. Marcus looked down at the royal seal in his hand, then back at where the queen had vanished. His pocket still held the power cell, and now he had credits enough to save his mother and change his family's entire future. As he walked home through the neon-lit streets, he couldn't help but smile. The galaxy thought humans were naive for caring about strangers, but today, that naivety had been rewarded in ways he never imagined. Maybe, Marcus thought, there was strength in kindness after all. Maybe that's what would help humanity survive among the stars, not by becoming more like the other species, but by remaining defiantly, stubbornly human. The story would spread across the galaxy in days, the human boy and the hidden queen. And slowly, imperceptibly, it would begin to change how the universe saw Earth's children, not as primitives to be mocked, but as beings who carried something precious, something the galaxy had nearly forgotten it needed. Compassion,